Hello everybody, welcome to my kitchen again. This is the 99th show, I think. Is it the 99th show? Is it? If Paul is here, is it the 99th show? I think it is. I think it is. I'm not very good at counting, obviously, clearly. We have definitely found that out. I am okay at cooking though, so, that's why you guys are here. Not for my Celtic skills. Yeah, you don't want to hear those. Okay, right. So, I just want to say hello to everybody who's already joined. Quite a few of you, all on really on time, which is amazing. So, Doug, Justine, Gloria, Anna, Joss, Annie, Sarah, Denise, Debbie, Colleen, Linda, Justine, Laura. Okay. Great. Apparently, Doug dreamed that he was eating this dish last night. That's pretty impressive. Woke up and my pilaf was missing. Oh, right. Oh, you had me there. You definitely had me there, Doug. Tor, thank you for joining us. Sue, lovely to see you wearing your apron the other day. Thank you for taking a photo of you wearing your vegan chef school apron and sharing it with everyone. It's really, really lovely to see. Really lovely to see. Mercedes, thank you for joining us again. Justine apparently is joined twice. So there we go. We'll have two Justines today. Okay, so onto our recipe today. So we're going to be making an aubergine pilaf. And the reason why I wanted to share this with you guys was because we made our dal yesterday, and it was quite a ample sized dal. So some of you might have some of that left over. I think some of you, Justine, might not, because apparently you ate quite a lot of it. So, but there you go. That's a compliment. That is absolutely a compliment. Not complaining at all. I love it when you guys, make our recipes and eat them really, really quickly, because, it's a huge compliment. I also love it when I see your half-eaten food photos of recipes that you've made of ours. That's absolutely brilliant as well. Absolutely love it. Okay, so yes, aubergine pilaf. So if you guys don't have aubergine, it doesn't really matter too much, because I'm going to use this to talk to you guys about just generally making a pilaf and show you like how flexible it can be. Aubergine, I think, goes really well with cauliflower, which is what we're having this with. But actually, my aubergine is like fairly small today. It's fairly petite. And I've got some mushrooms left over from our veg box. So I'm going to throw those in as well. And one of the things about a pilaf is that, oh, Paul's joined. Good. Hello, Paul. Is it the 99th show today? Can you tell me, please? I probably should have it in my calendar. But well, look, if it's going to be the 101st on Thursday, and I'm pretty sure today's Tuesday, although the days of the week are becoming trickier every day. Sometimes I'm like, oh, is it Friday? And I thought it was like Wednesday or Tuesday or something like that. And I know you guys are feeling the same. Joss said, oops, I think that's aimed at me. Got to remember to take pictures before I let Justine in the kitchen. To be honest, Joss, you are not the first, and you definitely will not be the last person who either eats the whole thing and completely forgets to take a photo, or gets halfway through eating it and then takes a photo. But I wasn't joking when I say I really like it, because it is a massive compliment. Because if you guys are so like enamoured with the dish and you want to gobble it all up right there and then because it's so tasty, then I've done my job properly. So it's all good. Okay, Paul, thank you for letting people know how they can share our live video. So it's really, really super easy to share it, and it won't take you away from the live. So if you are cooking along, you're not going to miss any of it at all. Justine said, to be fair, it was my fault. I came back early and ate it. There you go. We just have to make it again, won't you, so that it go with pilaf. So a pilaf is a really, really great excuse to get even more nutrition into our diet. So rather than just having rice on the side, we can really kind of make it so much better, make it so much more interesting, rather than just, a plain load of rice on the side. Rice is really lovely, really, really lovely. Really like it. There are so many different types nowadays as well, and we can definitely talk about that. But, it's a good way to sneak in things like seeds, and some other veggies and some spices and that type of thing. So, you know, if you feel like your diet is getting a bit the same all the time, and of course we know from Dr. Gemma, she said the variety is really, really important, and especially with things like seeds and nuts and stuff like that, then this is a really, really great way to make your diet more versatile without you really noticing, you know. So and also it gives different textures. It does give different textures to our dish, which I really, really love. I don't really like food where it's got the texture of baby food all the time, and I feel like, you know, we're gonna have the dal today and it's going to be recooked, so it's going to be super soft. And then, so if I just had it with the rice, it would just be baby food. It would have the texture of baby food. Whereas we're going to be adding some seeds, and I'll tell you some other things that you can add as well, just to give it a bit more variety and a bit more texture. Okay, so hello to Khan. Annie also says that she's definitely lost for their days recently. I'm glad it's not me. I'm glad it's not just me. Okay, right. So let's get to the overhead cam. I've got my rice here, and this was the rice that I cooked a couple of days ago. As I showed you on the show, I cooled it down very, very properly so that we make sure that there's none of that harmful bacteria in it, and it went straight in the fridge. And so until we need this, I'm going to pop it back in the fridge. I just wanted to show it to you guys just to know that I haven't forgotten that we need rice in this dish. And so I did say for you guys who are cooking along, if anybody is cooking along today, then you know, it's better for you to have made your rice in advance just to make this quicker. So and we'll have a chat about all the different types of rice a bit later on. We just need to get our aubergine in the oven ASAP. Okay, and Colleen, of course, quick off the mark, has guessed that underneath the rainbow there is 99 stars. No, it's not, and it's not grains of rice either. And Joss asked, have you got the volume on max? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. So it might be an issue your end. I don't know if you guys have ever actually just come back over here. Have you guys ever had like an issue with the quality of the video, that, you know, the live, or the sound, and have gone like out of it and then restarted it? I don't know if that helps at all. It is essentially like turning it off and turning it back on again. But I don't know, that might work. That might work. Okay, so back to something very, very serious. What is underneath our rainbow today? So it has to do with a song. There we go. Okay, so we're going to chop our aubergine into small pieces. So the smaller we cut it, the quicker it will cook. So if time is an issue for you, then just cut it smaller. But we do want them to be in small pieces because, you know, we're putting it into a pilaf. So everything that goes into the pilaf should be fairly small. There you go. So Khan said, I'm going vegetable shopping tomorrow. Chef Day, could you tell me what ingredients will I need for the upcoming week? Oh, well, we've only got a couple of shows left, and then we're going to have a break, babe. So tomorrow, I haven't decided what we're making yet tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we've got our brownies to make. So no veggies are needed for those. But definitely chocolate. And actually at the end of the show, I'm going to give you the ingredients list for our brownies again. So Justine! Oh no, Doug! Doug was first! Doug was first. Okay, yeah, 99 red balloons. So anybody who wasn't around in the 80s probably won't get that reference. So, but I thought as it was the 99th show today, we should have something that represented 99. Ah! And Colleen said it in German, because yes, there was that great German version of it as well. Or maybe that was the original. I don't know. So, we need to pop our aubergine into our bowl, and I'm going to add some oil to it. So with aubergine, I always cook it with oil. If you are an oil-free person, then you can try it without, but it can get a bit rubbery and a bit kind of wrinkly if you don't put oil on it. So what I would suggest is that you could, if you're oil-free, have a go at steaming it. So I just pop a bit of my oil on it. But when I add my oil to aubergine, so aubergine is the same as mushroom in the way that it really soaks up oil very quickly. Okay, so when you add oil to aubergine, you've got to make sure that you mix it in, because if we wait, then it's just going to get soaked into the ones that it's gone on top of. Okay, so I'll just pop it along the side there, get my spoon super quick and give it a really good mix. Yeah, so people who are oil free, you could try steaming aubergine. That's a recipe that I should really share with you guys one day. There is a really lovely Szechuan recipe for chili steamed aubergine. And it doesn't look pretty, but it tastes absolutely amazing. Really amazing. I think steaming it, you know, it's something that's quite unusual, but it works. It really works. So now I'm going to cut these mushrooms. And I'm not going to cut them as small because these are going to shrink. Okay, so we always know that mushrooms can shrink quite a lot. So Colleen is quite happily singing 99 Red Balloons to herself, which is cute. I love that song. I really love that song. Pascal, hello. Okay. And Doug says, yay for German pop. So was the original in German then? I think maybe it was. And it's just that the English version. Oh, Donna! Thank you for joining us. Okay, so just pop our mushrooms in and toss them in the oil as well. And then we can bake them at around 200 degrees Celsius, which is 390 degrees Fahrenheit, gas mark 6. And we do need a nice wide baking tray for these. So I just use the tray that is in my oven. So that was, you know, what the oven came with. So, you know, it's nice and wide, and I just reuse that every time. And, you know, there is an advantage to using this because it heats up so well, and it's really hardy as well. You know, like some baking trays you get, they're not very hardy at all. Okay, so we'll just put this out on our baking tray and just make sure that there's a lot of space. Yeah, we don't want to cram this at all. The more space it has, the quicker it will cook. If we cram things together, then they're not going to cook as quickly. So, you know, the wider you can get your tray, the better. Right, okay, so I'll just pop that into the oven. Whilst we get on with the rest of the recipe. Right, okay, so as I said before, I've already got my rice that's cooked, but if you haven't cooked it yet, then you can do now. And now is a really good time just to talk about like the different types of rice out there, because there's a huge amount. So Joss said, oh, pumpkin jokes. You're talking about pumpkin jokes. All right, we can do pumpkin jokes. I don't know if there are any aubergine. And Joss said aubergine / eggnog. I think you mean eggplant. But that might have been intentional. Doug said, unsurprisingly, she wanted the song to sell to the largest market. Yeah. Yes. Right, okay. Okay, right. So with the different types of rice that are on the market at the moment. So, of course, like historically, we have, you know, our short grain rice. Short grain rice is really good at soaking up any kind of sauce. So, you know, it's really good for dishes that are very wet, and then you want like a rice to kind of like soak all of that sauce up. So it's really good for that. But also short grain rice is really great for patties, because it's got more stickiness. So, you know, even if you're blending it as well. And then we have basmati rice, so the longer grain rice, and so you'll find that has a bit more texture to it, and it can be a bit more nutty, you know. And then we have things like risotto rice, and I have actually been known to use risotto rice actually just in place of sticky rice. So, you know, there is always like those swaps. So if you look at a rice and you think, oh, that looks quite similar to this other rice, so say like sushi rice arborio rice, and short grain rice. They're all kind of like quite similar. So in a jam, you could use them interchangeably. But then we have some really, really interesting rices that are coming to, they're in health food shops at the moment, but actually supermarkets have started selling them as well. So we have, let's see if I've got any in here. Yes! Black rice. So I absolutely adore black rice. Let's come to the overhead cam so you guys can see this packet properly. So this is black rice, and of course, as the name suggests, it is black. There we go. There we go. So it is a beautiful, beautiful colour. And when this actually cooks out, rather than being absolutely black, it's more like a really, really, really deep purple. A really deep purple. And black food is so healthy. Really, 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 really healthy. So, you know, I always say that when it comes to rice, black is the new brown. So black rice is actually healthier than brown rice. And there's lots of different types of black rice that you can get as well. There is some that takes an absolute age to cook, you know, maybe like an hour. This type, I think, takes less time to cook, maybe about 20 minutes. And there is a make that is available at Waitrose for anybody who's in the UK. There is a short grain Thai black rice, and that is also 20 minutes. But some of the packets that you find of the black rice in health food shops, it can be about an hour to cook it. Which, you know, if you're someone who doesn't like to, well, you know, when you cook, like, you're hungry and you want to eat like fairly soon, which is, you know, totally understandable, then you might just want to, you know, find the rice that doesn't take as long to cook, because that can be quite annoying. So if you go to buy black rice, have a look on the packet and see how long it takes to cook, because they do vary quite massively. But it was amazing to see the black rice in Waitrose. And by the way, anybody who isn't in the UK, Waitrose is like one of the higher end supermarkets. So, you know, it can be a bit expensive, but the rice is like fairly cheap. But quite often these types of shops can be an indication of where less expensive shops are going to head to in the next, you know, the next few years. So we've got our black rice, and also we've got red rice as well. So red rice is very popular in Italy, and it can make a really, really lovely one-pot chilli, and actually look like bits of mince once it cooks out. And that is incredibly healthy as well. So I think that I have missed a question. Yeah, Josh said really random question, but whilst we're on the subject, what can we use for rice pudding? So you'll need short grain rice for rice pudding, because you want it to be, you know, quite sticky, kind of like a fatty rice, and that is what short grain rice is. David, thank you for joining us. And he says he loves Blake's sticky rice. I don't know that. So I think that might be something. Are you in the States? I think David might be in the States. Doug said I used Gallo for the risotto rice recipe you did. Yeah, Gallo is a really, really good make. Really, really good make. And Sue says, what is the best way to cook black rice? To be honest, like, you know, the regular way that you cook it, it doesn't need to be any different whatsoever. It really, really doesn't. It doesn't need any particular way of cooking. I have always gone with the full absorption method when it comes to rice. But, you know, if you don't do that method, then just do it whichever way you want to. Colleen says, I bought the black rice after your coconut chickpea curry recipe. I had to order it online and there were no instructions on how to cook it. Oh, blimey. Oh, blimey. And David also says he loves black sticky rice. Yes, good, good, good. Oh, right. That was a typo. So when you said Blake, I was like, oh, that's obviously a make. That's obviously like some really good brand. Anyway, yeah, and there's something I was going to say about the black rice. Oh, yes, that's it. So the rice starting with A, arborio for rice pudding. Yeah, you could use arborio, definitely. Oh, and Sarah has actually tried the black rice from Waitrose and says it's tasty, and the red rice is really good too. Do you have a recipe for one pot dish? I think you mean dish, not fish. With red rice somewhere? No, don't at the moment. Don't at the moment. I think we might have a one pot chili on the website, possibly. So yes, have a look at that. Right, okay, so one of the other things that I really, really like to do with black rice is to mill it. And it's something that we've done at the school, and taught our students how to make a black rice polenta, which is really, really lovely. So, of course, polenta is really, really nice, but corn, whether or not that's that healthy, and so just to like make it more healthy, I developed a recipe for black rice polenta. But you do need to mill the rice. But one of the great pluses of that is that it really significantly reduces the amount of time that you need to cook it for, because essentially you're breaking it apart. So we have used a corn mill before, and I can see it right over there in the corner of the room, because it has to go to the tip. So I bought a corn mill that was cheap, new from eBay, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is a bargain, and now it's broken. So there we go. But you can get electric mills as well. Electric mills is definitely something that is on my Christmas list, because they are expensive. They are about £250–300. Hodmedod's do sell them, and they sell very good ones as well. But of course, that price is a bit prohibitive. I mean, I would suggest that if anybody is really into making their own flours, particularly like gluten-free ones as well, then thinking about investing in a proper flour mill is a good idea, because say for example, in the UK, oat flour is very expensive, whereas gluten-free oats are not. So if you want to make the really, really fine stuff, I mean, of course, we've made oat flour together using NutriBullet, which works pretty well, but if you want it to be finer, and also if you want to do things like make flour out of dried beans and peas, you would need a mill for that, really. So, oh, I can smell this cooking. Oh, and I can smell the aubergine as well. So I have to have a peek at that in a second. Yeah, but also you can use a NutriBullet. So at the school now we actually use a NutriBullet or Nutri-Ninja to make this into polenta, which is really, really lovely. And as I said, the colour is just like this deep dark purple, which is absolutely beautiful, really, really beautiful. Okay, so Sue says also she has no instructions on mine other than 25 to 30 minutes. Yeah, so I mean, it depends on. I've always gone down the route of my method is it's very scientific when I measure out the rice and the water. So I put the amount of rice I want to have into my pan, and then fill it with water a bit, and then I put my finger in it, and so I think of like that as like that's the depth of it with the water. And if half of it is the rice and the other half is the water, then that works for me. Okay, that's always been my method. But I know other people who go down the very specific like cup method. So they'll measure out 1 cup of rice to, say for example, like either like 1 cup of water or 2 cups of water, but depending on which rice they're cooking. So that's quite an individual thing. And Connie said, how do you mill rice? Okay, right, let's get our defunct corn mill out. Oh. See, I thought that this was really good buy, and to be fair, it did actually last us a few terms. So basically, this had a kind of container, a metal container on the top, and then you put the rice down there, and then you turn this handle, and so it's got this kind of corkscrew thing in there, and then it goes through these 2 plates like rub against each other, and then out of here you get black rice polenta. So, and I just loved it as a piece of kit, but it's broken now, so boo. But hopefully one day I'll get another one. So Jess joined. Hello Jeff, hope you're having a good day at work. Okay, right, so let's get back over here, and then we'll get our aubergine out the oven. and see how it's doing. Ooh. Okay, so it doesn't need long at all. It really, really doesn't need long at all. There we go. So I've got my spatula here, which has a nice straight top on it. And so I'll just shift that around. There we go. So that's nearly done. That's nearly done. So we can get on with the rest of the recipe. Now, there we go. That's what we're looking for. Yummy. Okay. And actually, I'm going to turn my oven off. Whew, hot day. David says he's going to try my rice method. I hope it works. I hope it works. And Colleen says my mum said something like that growing up, but she ground. Yes, yeah, she had like a meat grinder. Yeah, it's basically a very similar principle. Very similar principle. Okay, and let's get on to the rest of the recipe for our pilaf. Okay, so we've got a pan here, and we're going to start by toasting our seeds. So you guys can use whatever seeds you have to hand. There's pretty much like no seed that you can't use. I mean, I'm trying to think of one that I can't. So I'm going to be using pumpkin seeds, my pumpkin seeds, because I want a lot of crunch. I want a lot of crunch. So I'm heating this up. I'm heating my pan up, and I'll pop our pumpkin seeds in a second. But also, you know, you can use things like sunflower seeds. And as Nikki mentioned before, sunflower seeds are really, really cheap. So, you know, even organic ones are really, really cheap. So, yeah. And then, of course, we have linseed. So if you guys want to get more linseed into your diet, then you can. But just be aware that linseed, if they're not ground down, they pretty much like go through your body. You know, and your body doesn't break them down. So, you know, if you want to really get the nutrition from them, then you're going to need to use ground linseeds. And then here we have our black sesame seeds. So this would be a really, really lovely addition to a light coloured rice. So, you know, if you want like a bit more colour, a bit more like texture, then the black sesame seeds are lovely. Really, really lovely with a light rice. And poppy seeds. Poppy seeds, I absolutely love poppy seeds. So with things like the poppy seeds or the linseeds, you don't necessarily have to toast them. But by toasting are either our pumpkin seeds or... Yeah, I'm doing all of them, by the way. You guys don't have to, but I really do want a bit of crunch today. So just popping them into a dry frying pan, and we just need to wait for them to start popping. And so if any of you guys have fur babies around, they do tend to react to the popping sound. Now, one thing about our seeds, and I'll bring you guys over here so we can have a bit of a chat about this, is that if we toast seeds, then it increases the umami in them. And so umami is one of these, one of our 5 tastes, and it is amazing. It's like at the school, like we go big on umami. So umami is in things like mushrooms and miso and seaweed and nutritional yeast, and it's like a rich savouriness. And so we're going to be getting a crunch out of our pumpkin seeds, but we're also going to be getting some umami as well, which I think is great in a dish like this, and particularly a dish that is high in veg, because veg can actually be quite sweet, particularly if you're someone who has given up sugar. Then I definitely noticed that once I gave up refined sugar, I could taste more sweetness in my food. So, you know, that might happen to you guys as well. Joss said, never realised how many seeds there were. This is literally just a very, very small amount of my collection of seeds. There are so many, like so many. And, you know, you guys could also use chia seeds for this. Chia seeds, when they're toasted, they actually have a slightly fishy taste. Apparently a bit like mackerel. Apparently. So I've been told. Gloria says it's used to cook linseed for the horses, but you need to cook it well, or it's porridge. Geez. Gluten linseed for people is different. Yeah, it's fine to eat without cooking it. But yeah, if you do want the nutrition from linseeds or flax seeds, exactly the same thing, you do need to have them ground. Otherwise, they just go through whole. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Right. So when you toast seeds, you don't want to have it on too hot to start with. Otherwise, we'll just burn them basically, and we really want to make sure that we don't do that, especially if you are going to toast things like pine nuts, which are so expensive. Oh, Sue says, I don't think Sue likes mackerel. She says she won't be toasting chia seeds then. Okay. I don't know why Justine's talking about Zakopane, which is a place that I've been to. So that's weird. But you'll have to show us the seeds one day. Yes, you can see my seed collection. But Justine said apparently it was autocorrect. Either it was autocorrect or you are being psychic again, Justine. So it's one of the two. But yeah, Zakopane was somewhere that my mum visited a lot as a teenager. And it's a region in Poland that is like a ski area. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Is that where you're going on holiday, Justine? Is it? Are you going to Zakopane? I did actually manage to find vegan food in Zakopane, which was pretty amazing. Because Poland is probably the most difficult place I've travelled to. So if you guys can see, some of these are popping now. You see there we go. And if you can, I'm sure you guys can hear that as well. Okay, so now we need to take them out of our pan, and then we can get onto our rice. Okay, so if you are re-cooking rice, then make sure that you are just going to put in the pan as much as you need, okay? Because we don't want to put the whole thing in and then realise it's too much food for us and then have to put it back in the fridge and have to cook it again, okay? Because we talked about like the dangers of rice. We want to be cooking it as few times as possible. I don't cook rice more than twice. So I'm just going to put in the amount that I will be using, I'll be eating today, basically, so that I don't leave it. I don't waste it, sorry. Oh, just said we've been there twice. Good vegan restaurant. Oh, good. Oh, wow. That's such a coincidence. We have been. Where did you find the vegan food in Zakopane? We found vegan Krakow. Oh, you found vegan pierogi. The only vegan food that I found in Krakow was pizza. But I went to Poland like a really, really long time ago. So my family are mainly Polish. Like 3 of my grandparents are Polish. So that's kind of like the connection. And I can't remember the place in Zakopane, but as I said, it was a long, long time ago, maybe 20 years ago. Gosh. Does anybody else do that when you're like, oh, it was that long ago, and you're like, wow, I'm old. Like, yes. Yeah, I can't believe it was that long ago. Blimey. Okay, right, so let's get our rice out of the fridge. And you guys have two options with recooking rice. Either you can do it in oil, which would fry it, which would be nice, which would be really nice, especially if you use a nice oil, absolutely, or we can just use a little bit of water. So we'll use a little bit of water today just to help heat the rice up. And the reason why is because if we just put the rice in as it is, it's just going to stick to the bottom of the pan. So, and just said you should do Polish food one day. That would be great, but to be honest, I don't think I really know any Polish food. So we didn't really have it at home. There was two things that we had. One was like a kind of chocolate mousse type thing that my dad would make. Actually, they were both made by my dad. And potato pancakes. So every pancake day, my dad makes potato pancakes. Okay, so I'm just putting in as much rice as I'm going to eat today, and then the rest of it can go back in the fridge Oh, Sarah says I lived in Wrocław for a year. Such a beautiful country. Actually, that's my family are from very close to Wrocław, and I think that's how you say it. I'm really sorry, like my pronunciation isn't great, even though my grandparents were Polish. Okay, so we just want to make sure that doesn't dry out. So we've got a little bit of water to hand, and we just want to cook it for at least like 5 minutes. We want to make sure that it's nice and hot. And then we've got our, well, actually I've got a bit of fruit out here to give you guys as an option. So we've got either just like, mixed fruit here. And then, I mean, this is just going to be sweet, but we've also got something like this, which is a barberry. And I'm going to add this to mine today. And these are actually very sour. And I really, really like sour. So I'm going to add these today, but that just adds like another dimension to what it is that we're cooking. And so I think that's going to work very well for me. But of course, if you guys like the sweeter stuff, then you can add that. And then we've also got things like, our coconut chips here, which would also be lovely. And I really like adding sliced red onion to mine as well. And of course we've got our garlic here. But with our sliced red onion, what you can do is you can actually slice our red onion and fry it in the pan and then cook your rice in that pan. So it's fried, but then it gets really, really soft as well. And that's really, really lovely. And so we've got our a few different, there we go. These are the two that we're going to be using today, our spices. So we've got ground cumin and allspice, but you guys can use whichever spices you want. If you're going to use something like cardamom or any type of spice seed, so this is caraway, then I would recommend putting those in when you're cooking the rice. So not having this pre-cooked rice like we've got today, but you want these to be cooking for a long time. Whereas with our spices, we've got cinnamon and nutmeg here, which are great additions to a pilaf. Just be careful of how much nutmeg you add, because a little goes a long way. But these can be added to our pre-cooked rice, and that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to add my spices now. And for me, it's around half a teaspoon of cumin and a pinch of allspice, basically. There we go. But just giving these a bit of time in the pan for the heat to affect the spices, because it does amplify the taste. There we go. And just a pinch of allspice, because allspice is another one that is, little goes a long way. Okay. So, and at this point as well, you can add a bit of salt too. And Justine said Prague is also amazing as a food holiday. Yes, it is. It is very, very good. Very good. I found a really cool place in Prague when I went there many decades ago, called Radost FX, RADOST. And I don't know if it's still there, but it was like a club underneath, and then it had a vegan restaurant and cocktail bar above, which was awesome. Really, really, really good. Really good. There we go. So just making sure that it doesn't stick to the pan. But we're just adding drips of water. We don't want to add too much, because we don't want to re-cook it. We don't want it to like start breaking down. We just want enough water so that it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. That's all. Okay. Colleen said I put onions and everything. Good, good, good. They're really great for you as well. Really great. Okay. So, Josh said we did nothing but eat and drink in Prague. I bet. I bet. It's such a beautiful place as well. Really, really beautiful place. And I don't know, you guys must have gone along the bridge when you were there, which is just so stunning. Really, really stunning. Prague is, it's one of those places that there's still a lot of the old buildings intact. So it's very, very beautiful. Very beautiful. And there's a brilliant artist on the bridge as well who he just does like self-portraits of himself, and I think he's a bit mad. Like he's a bit one of these like mad artists, and so like he wears a red nose, So lots of his self-portraits are him with a red nose. Right, okay, so just mixing those in really well, making sure that our aubergine and our mushroom that I've popped in there gets up to temperature. And we're going to save putting our seeds in till the end. Till the end, okay? And that's because I don't want them to get soft. I want them to be crunchy. I'm just going to add a few of my barberries. Okay, so I think that this is about done now, so I'll just add a handful of these. I did, of course, make far too much. Far too much, but these are a great snack, by the way, guys. Toasted pumpkin seeds have an amazing flavour. Really, like, you don't have to put any salt on them or anything like that, but they're a really, really great savoury snack. And that's because toasting them really, it just makes them come alive. Not literally, not literally. That would be weird. But yeah, so they're a great, great snack for, you know, in front of a film or whatever. So if you guys like want a healthy snack, then it's a really, really good go-to. Okay, there we go. So that is our pilau ready. So now I can just pop that out onto my plate. I love using pasta bowls these days. Oh my gosh, that looks lovely. Because it means you can kind of like, you can see the food and gives you a bit more space on the plate, but it holds all the sauce in. But just look at all of like the different colours in that and textures. Really nice, really nice. I'm just soaking my pan as well, by the way. Make life a lot easier for you guys. Okay, and then we've got our dal from yesterday. So I'll pop that out on the side. And what an amazing combo. And see, this is actually quite saucy. No. So it's good that I've got a pasta bowl, because if I just had it on a flat plate, then the sauce would just go everywhere, and I don't want to miss out on that sauce. I want all of that loveliness to get in my tummy, basically. Right, there we go, guys. So this is my very hearty lunch. I'm very pleased with this, that I'm going to have this today, because at the moment in the UK, it's been a really dreary day. So sometimes we have these days where it rains like constantly for the whole day. So not like just, you know, loads of rain in one go and get it over and done with, but this rain that just lasts throughout the whole day and is constant, and I call it interminable. Because it is. But this does make me feel a lot better. It is one of those nice, like, cozy days. Okay, so so thank you for joining me today. Paul said, a long time ago I went on a bus journey all the way from London to Chisinau in Moldova. Oh wow, that sounds amazing. I love that part of the world. I went through a period of visiting like Prague and Poland, but always in winter. And if you guys visited in winter, you know it's cold. Like, we complain about the coldness in the UK, but it's nothing like in Eastern Europe. Oh my gosh. Okay. Annie says it looks very delicious and comforting. Yes, absolutely. And that is something that we talked about yesterday, is how comforting this food is. And so I think it's quite interesting for us to take the term comfort food, which in the West, like, the type of comfort food that people usually have is junk, is pretty much rubbish for your body. But if we have food like this, then it is comforting comfort food, and it's super healthy, but it makes you feel really lovely. Yeah, Joss said it's cheaper than water, and they don't do refill water stations. Yeah, see, my grandfather, he used to clean his windshield with vodka, because in Poland vodka was cheaper than antifreeze, like way cheaper. Oh, Gloria says it's horrid here in the Lizard. So Gloria lives like really south in Cornwall, in a place called Lizard Point, which is where I went to watch the eclipse, which was fairly disappointing. But it's a very, very lovely part of the world. Very lovely part of the world. But yeah, it's a bit miserable today. And George said, yes, rainy day comfort food. Denise, of course. I'm never going to get it past you, am I? Denise says, please taste us. Of course I will. Of course I will. And Doug said, spent my birthday in Prague and got snowed in for an extra 2 days. That's quite nice, isn't it? That is quite nice when it's like, I would go out and do stuff, but I actually can't. You know, it is quite nice to have that. Unless it lasts 3 months, which is kind of what it's been like for a lot of us. Okay, so now I'm going to do a taste test. Doug said Koli dal looks like an awesome combo with Pilaf. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I love dal on its own, and I like having like these one pot dishes, and I like just having like a pot of chili on its own. So it's more like a stew rather than something that you have with rice. I think that's like a really, really nice thing to do. That's really nice. Really nice. There's loads of textures going on in that. Loads of textures. And actually, the Barber is a really great addition because it's got that sourness. But as you guys know, I am a big fan of sourness. And if you guys aren't, then don't try about Barberas. They're very, very sour. Very, very sour indeed. So, So Justine said, our dishwasher broke, just won't let me near the kitchen. Why don't you just have to do the washing up yourself then? Okay. So, or you could say, like, if you cook, then the other person washes up and do it that way. That would be fair, wouldn't it? Denise says, atrociously hot and humid in Savannah. To be honest, with the name Savannah, I kind of think that it's like that all the time anyway. I've got this idea of like, you know, a Savannah and it being very, very hot. But Jim, thank you for joining us. If you want to catch up with the show and see the recipe, then of course you can do. They are all saved on our page, and they will be on our website soon. Promise, promise, promise. Okay, so guys, right, that's it for today. So thank you for joining me. Join me again tomorrow where we'll be making another recipe. I don't know what yet. I haven't decided. I haven't decided. I have to have a look at what we've got, but definitely be something interesting. I'll let you guys know later on today. So if you want to cook along, you can see if you've got the ingredients and do so. And of course, on Thursday is our 101st show in a row. I just like saying that. 101st show in a row. So please do join us for that, and please do cook along if you can. I have shared the ingredients list in the group, and also I'm going to pop them on the screen now once I go. Once I stop talking, then you can see the ingredients, okay? So please do try to cook along because it's going to be a super, super fun one. So the deal is that we all make the same chocolate brownie, but you guys can harness, no, actually I'm not going to say harness, you are going to let run wild that creative, playful child that I know is in each and every one of you, and you're going to make the most fun, most bright, most decorative decoration to go on top of your brownie. So whether that be rainbows or candles or sparklers or fireworks or whatever you can think of, make your brownie absolutely 100% your own and really, really have fun with it, because that is such an important part of cooking. I think that quite often we forget that it is a creative thing to do, and if you can introduce play into it and see it as a fun thing rather than a stressful thing, it will help you cook from scratch more. I absolutely promise that. So thank you so much for spending this time with me today, guys. And as always, please have a good day.